Hi, Tracy from Nature's Heart. I'd like to talk about aromatherapy again today. And today I'd like to talk about the topic of essential oil safety and specifically the area of oral use or ingestion. And this is a really big topic, and I touched on it briefly in my previous video where I talked about professional qualifications and scope of practice. And today I'd just like to present a little bit more information on the science and the data behind this issue. So when I did a quick Google of essential oil ingestion, the top 5 hits, there was only one that mentioned any caution or safety. And I find that really scary and really unfortunate. So my intention here today is to present information and data, and this is from the perspective of my own training and experience as a registered aromatherapist and essential oil therapist. So aside from the legal implications here, I spoke about scope of practice, I spoke about professional associations and standards of practice and codes of ethics, and why in Canada and other jurisdictions as well, we are not legally allowed to recommend or condone internal use of essential oils. So aside from that, and aside from the idea of when we ingest something, we're using it as a drug, and that crosses into the realm of medicine and prescribing. And again, we're not licensed to do that. Even as professional aromatherapists, that's something that we're not licensed or permitted to do legally. So what I want to talk about is the science behind this. And the first thing, I'm going to talk about 3 things: dilution, disbursement and solubility, and the chemicals. So the first thing I'll talk about is dilution. So when we think about essential oils and where they come from, we get them from plants. And they're either distilled, steamed through steam distillation, or they can be expressed or extracted through solvents. So today, 2 of the essential oils that I see most often referred to for internal use or ingestion is lemon and peppermint. So I'm going to use those 2 as my examples. So sometimes we hear that the essential oil has a GRAS, G-R-A-S status. And what does that mean? So it means that it is generally regarded as safe. But let's backtrack a little bit and think about where we get the essential oil from. It comes from a plant and is distilled, as I said, it's distilled or expressed. So how much plant material does it take to get essential oils? It's really, really concentrated. It's more than in a plant. So lemon, for example, takes about 1,000 lemons to make 2 cups of essential oils. So it's really concentrated. It's more than squeezing the lemon into your glass. So when we're looking at GRAS standards that generally regarded as safe, yes, some essential oils do have this status. The other part of the story is that status is for use at parts per million. So a part per million means if we're measuring in drops, and a drop is not an exact measurement, but with essential oils, we often talk about drops. So let's say 1 drop in 1 million drops of water would be 1 part per million. So 1 drop of lemon oil in 50 liters, because 1 million drops is about 50 liters of water, it would be 1 part per million. So this GRAS standard is for commercial industrial purposes. The other thing that we need to consider is often essential oils that are used as flavoring agents in commercial food production. They are further distilled or folded to remove some of the constituents in order to boost the flavor. So it's not the same as the essential oil that you would find in your bottle of lemon essential oil. So the dilution, we need to consider the 2 things. We need to consider the concentration of the essential oil that's actually from the plant and how much stronger and more concentrated that is than, say, a dried plant material that you would use in a tea, or that would be processed into a tincture, or that you would put fresh or dried herbs in your cooking. So the dilution is a really important consideration. When we look at peppermint, peppermint does have this GRAS status, and it is 0.104, so it's 1,000 parts per million. So 1 drop of essential oil in a glass of water is about 1,000 times more. You know, if you're chewing a piece of gum, yeah, you might be getting some peppermint essential oil in that flavoring, but it's really, really minuscule compared to the amount of peppermint that you would get in that 1 drop of essential oil. So that's the first issue, dilution. The second one is dispersion or solubility. And when we look at essential oils, they're called oils. They're not technically oils. They're alcohols and esters and a lot of different chemical components, but they're called oils because they don't dissolve in water. They're fat soluble, but not water soluble. So I have a really nice bottle of lemon essential oil, and this is from one of my suppliers who I have built up they have a really good reputation. I built up a relationship with them, and I trust them. And this is a new bottle. I just got it, and it went in the fridge as soon as I bought it, and it just came out of the fridge now. And it is organic, it is cold expressed, and it's beautiful, and I would not drink it. So the reason is, number one, it's highly concentrated. There's 1,000 lemons to make 2 cups of the essential oil. The second thing is, this is an oil, it's not going to disperse in the water. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but if I take a drop of this beautiful essential oil and put it in water, I don't even think you can see there. Anyway, I'd invite you to try that at home. You can't see, it's all stuck to the side of the glass now. But the oil is going to float on the top of the water. So the oil is hydrophobic. It doesn't blend in with the water. So this means that if you were to drink this, which I'm not going to do, if you were to drink that, you're drinking undiluted essential oil. So what does that mean? So in the case of lemon has a component called limonene, and limonene is, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the chemistry later, but it's a chemical that has other applications. In aromatherapy, we love using limonene-rich oils for antiseptic properties. So this lemon, I would mix into a diffuser, make a diffuser blend, or I would make it into a mister to spray around the room. It has a very light, uplifting scent. The limonene is the antiseptic portion of the essential oil chemical constituents. So if I were to drink this, it's going to do some pretty nasty things to my the mucus lining of my gastrointestinal system, and that's not pleasant. So if you were to dilute it in, you can actually see a little bit more now, it's floating on the top. You can see that yellowy ring around the top here. That's the lemon essential oil. So it's not mixed in the water. So drinking undiluted, not good. So that's the second issue, dispersion and solubility. So we've got dilution problems, we've got solubility issues. So the third thing is the chemicals. And I touched on the limonene in the lemon essential oil. So I'll continue with that. So in the lemon essential oil, there's anywhere from 56 to 76% limonene. And in our community, we have this wonderful resource. I know the words are backwards. This is the authority on essential oil safety, Tisserand and Young. And they state that this expressed lemon oil has between 56 and 76% limonene. So limonene is an ingredient that, as I mentioned, we love in aromatherapy because it's antiseptic. So it's great for cleaning the air. It's also a solvent, and it's used in commercial cleaners and degreasers. And you can actually find it in furniture remover and oven cleaner. So imagine if I were to drink this with this, say, average of 70% limonene. Imagine what that's going to do, because as we know, it's undiluted. It hasn't solubilized into the water. So imagine what that's going to do to the inside of my body. Not nice. Peppermint is the other oil that I have seen talked about, and peppermint has a chemical constituent known as the ketones, and ketones are one of the chemical constituents in aromatherapy that we worry most about, because they are the ones that out of all the chemicals that we find in essential oils, ketones are the ones that have the highest probability or possibility of causing problems. They can cause liver toxicity. They have been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier. Oils that are high in ketones are the ones that we say don't use in pregnancy, because we don't know if the fetus, the liver of the fetus is able to metabolize that high level of chemicals. So the ketones are not good to be drinking at that high concentration. Remember, I talked about the piece of chewing gum, how you would get 0.1% peppermint as opposed to the 1,000 times more that you would get in the 1 drop that you may choose to put in your water. So what does that mean when we're talking about, I talked about the legal ramifications before. Today I talked about dilution, dispersion, and chemicals. So what do you do if you want to flavor your water? We're supposed to drink a lot of water. I get it. Water can be a little bit boring. So why not make a tea? Use dried plant material to make a tea. You'll get the health benefits of that. Or why not squeeze your fresh lemon into your water? The lemon has the flavor, it has the vitamins, and it has that lovely flavor, and it doesn't have the risks associated with ingesting essential oils. So whenever we talk about health, we talk about risk and benefit. So to me, as a professional aromatherapist, I look at the risks involved in ingesting essential oils are really quite significant. The benefit is negligible, if any. So it really is not a safe practice based on the science that I mentioned. So thanks very much for watching, and I invite you to try out some of these if you want to see how these play together, how the oil and the water play together. Try that out at home and see, try your own little science experiment. So I invite you to take this data into consideration and use it to make an informed decision the next time you're faced with the idea of ingestion. And again, as a professional aromatherapist, not a good idea. My colleagues and I would not recommend that, and we want you to be safe. Thanks for watching.